All right, we're started. Tom, this is episode 1, Lionhearted Blue Police Podcast. Your guest number 1, or let's say co-host number 1, since we're both retired cops.
This is awesome. This is awesome, Cliff.
This is going to be good.
Title, and I think it's going to be great.
Hey, listen, as police officers, we're all lion-hearted, and we're going to get to that because you are definitely lion-hearted. And listen, you and I go back.
A new lion-hearted, that's right.
A new lion-hearted. And you and I go back probably 40 years.
Yeah.
So when I was working with the Livingston County Sheriff's Department out of Geneseo, New York, you started your police career at the village of Caledonia under my father, who was the chief of police.
The only full-time police officer. Yes.
I always lie and say, well, my dad had 3 cops, but I didn't want to tell him.
He did, but the other 2 were part-time.
Yeah, I leave that part out. Village police officers of 2 cops.
There wasn't anything like working with your dad. He was just a cool dude. There's no doubt about it.
He was amazing. My dad was chief of police of Caledonia Police in Livingston County, where I worked for the sheriff's department. Actually, my dad had worked for that sheriff's department many years before.
Yeah.
But, he went full Cliff Yates one time and threw his gun belt across the sheriff's desk and he quit.
That's my Cliff. That's my Cliffy.
And then he really missed police work, so he ended up coming back to Caledonia, becoming chief. And then you went on to the Monroe County Sheriff's Department, worked many details, and you retired from there as a detective or sergeant.
A sergeant.
Yeah. So we're both retired sergeants. So I went from Livingston County to the LA County Sheriff's Department for 30 years. And here we are back together again. And these are going to be good episodes because it always reminds me of those coffee table storytelling times, right? Where cops get together over cups of coffee and just tell the funniest stories.
They tell the old-fashioned stories, absolutely. I remember when. That's when it started.
Yeah.
I remember when we did.
Sometimes we tell those stories 5, 6 times.
Yeah.
As our wives would tell us.
It brings back a lot of memories and a lot of good times. It really does.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I wanted to pursue the job was, being around my dad and my uncle who were cops, and they would sit down and tell these stories, and then cops would stop into the house and sit down and the laughter and to see people enjoying their work so much. And then every day is different. I mean, gosh, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes it's monotonous and sometimes it's not.
And you know what? You never know when it's stressful because they keep it all inside. They used to. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's why in my primal health coaching business, I've decided I'm going to be focusing on retired cops for a couple different reasons. First of all, cops, while on duty, we just have so much chronic stress. Our cortisol levels are way up, disrupted sleep, disrupted meals, crappy eating, can't exercise properly. But when we get retired, now we have total control over these things, right?
Yeah. Yep. All that authority goes away, but now we have control over how we direct our life.
And now we can have a reset. Post-patrol health reset, bring back our lion-hearted strength.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You get me all excited. Speaking of that, we're also going to talk police stuff, but I also want to bring up a 2-year anniversary, Tom. There's your book, Matters of the Heart, Memoir of a Heart Transplant Patient. I can't believe it's been 2 years since the transplant.
It's been 2 years. It was 2 years on Friday. So I would have been 2 years ago still in the hospital waiting to go home.
Wow.
But it was a phenomenal miracle of God. And there's no other way to explain it. It's just the progression. I wrote in the book, starting right from the beginning of when I first learned that I had heart failure. And heart failure is not necessarily like a heart attack. Heart failure is your heart doesn't pump enough blood to the rest of your organs. So that could be devastating. And by the time 12 years came, my medication didn't work anymore. And they put me on the list for a transplant. And I was stunned. I was astonished. I didn't think I was going to make it, but thankfully I knew Jesus Christ, and he brought me through the whole thing. And it's all depicted in the book, the way it went from one little square to another. And it was just amazing. Both me and my wife went through it, obviously, but we both had different divine interventions during that course of that time that kept us going and encouraged us and helped us every step of the way. I could feel the prayers from the people at home. There was like 4 or 5 churches that were praying, and I could just feel them. In fact, there were so many people praying, I still haven't had enough time over 2 years to get back to everybody to thank them for their prayers. And hopefully maybe they'll read the book, or maybe they'll watch the podcast to see that I am very thankful for all of that.
Oh, no, they're going to get this book. Buy this book. I got the link in the description on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Join a community of progress. And you got cops talking about cops. By cops, for cops. And, you know, I almost forgot to, when your wife posted something recently about the 2-year anniversary, and I said, happy anniversary to you. And I actually went back and said, and happy anniversary to you, because, I mean, some of the time you were out, and then she was suffering, trying to get through the worst of it.
She saw the worst of it. I was in the operating room for 5 or 6 hours, but I didn't know a thing. I fell asleep before I got to the operating room. And then I slept for 3 days. And she had to watch the nurses 24/7 next to my bed. And they were just phenomenal. I mean, they kept to every need, and she was right with them. So she watched the whole thing. I was connected to so many different machines. She got lost in it. She just didn't realize that it took so much. But the technology and the direction from the good Lord was just unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about in the last episode about the divine intervention was obvious just from the time things began to show up, just when you needed them. You know, your son's the company he had worked for. All of a sudden, the owner of the company provides a jet for transportation to New York City, and things that you would never know where they were going to come from, but it was provided to you, and you always had faith, Tom. I know there was times you said, "Are you there?"
But it was wavering. But he knew that was going to happen, so it didn't really make a bit of difference. He knew what he was going to do, and he knew he was going to do it in his time and not in my time. And all the babbling that I did, and all the frustration that I did to him, I gave it right to him, because God's got big shoulders. And
listen,
he just instilled encouragement to the both of us. I mean, he just instilled, every time we thought we would been to our end, he brought somebody else in the room that wanted to talk about the Bible and pray with us. And it was just amazing. The nurses and doctors were just, I mean, if I could buy them all Christmas presents, I would. But there were just so many of them. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, well, you can't be too hard on yourself. You were brave and courageous, lion-hearted for sure. Because let's face it, when God time traveled to earth as Jesus Christ in fully human form, he felt all the human emotions of a real human, as a real man, and he wept on many occasions, right? He felt these emotions.
Yes, he did.
So so we can't, if we're trying to be as Jesus was, we can't be hard on ourselves when you say we stumble a little bit, because he felt those emotions too, which is why he is so understanding.
Absolutely,
of who we are.
He stumbled. Yeah. He wept when people died. He had that type of charisma in him, that human nature in him, that he knows what we go through. He just knows exactly what we go through. So we don't pray to a God that doesn't know. He knows.
He knows. He knows all. We have to trust in God completely. And boy, and now, I brought up your past of working for the Village of Caledonia, going on to Monroe County Sheriff, being a detective, working major crimes, organized crime, mafia, murder investigations, and teaching interrogation techniques. And now, listen, you're not 10-7 yet. You're not out of service. You're now a police chaplain. Am I going to leave that out?
Yeah.
For God's sakes, yes. Lord, you're using Tom in so many ways. My goodness.
He's done a couple of things since. I prayed for 10 years to become a pastor. He elevated me to be a pastor at Calvary Chapel.
I didn't know you
Then,
prayed for that. You wanted that for that long. You had that
oh,
in your head.
absolutely, for over 10 years, I prayed to be a
Wow.
pastor,
Wow.
and it came to the past. And then the executive director to the chaplaincy decided to step down, and God put me in that position. So now I run the whole thing now, and I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know what to do. So I come home and I sit quietly and I ask him, okay, Lord, I need your help. I got to
Yes.
do this, this, and this. And it's his ministry. He's the one that runs it. He's the one that oversees it. So, and it's grown, Cliff, it's grown so much. We do the fire department now in the city. We do the 911 center. And I just got a call from a friend who retired as a probation officer. He belongs to a retirement organization uh, for all that type of work in the state, for probation officers in the state. They have a gathering once a year, and he wants us to come down and present because he thinks that the chaplains really do a good work, and they want representation at the local Monroe County probation office. They want somebody to go there once in a while and sit and pray with the guys and all that type of thing. So it's growing at leaps and bounds, and it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is not just that you're a police chaplain. No, you have a chaplain academy, correct? You're talking you're
Right.
teaching groups of people to be chaplains, and the chief of police for the Rochester Police is a chaplain now, right?
Yes, he is. And it's an organization that strictly serves the Rochester Police Department. We're the go-to chaplains for that particular group. There's about 18 of us that are active, and now it looks like it's going to be the go-to group for the Rochester Fire Department because they lost their chaplain, and they see a need for that. So, and we always, no matter what organization that we go to, we always bump into a person that's saved, a person that understands that
Always.
without the Lord, without Jesus Christ in your life, it's chaos. There's no doubt about it.
God, now you're reminding me. I have a good friend that I worked with at the LA County Sheriff, and I saw that he just graduated to be a chaplain. So I'm going to have him on.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome.
Yeah. So just so people know, other fellow cops and stuff. So
Yeah.
now you go out to incidents, and you're very, you're very sensitive to how you approach a situation, right? Tell me, like when you get to a call, right? You let people, they know you're there. You wear something. Now you have a uniform, or tell me
Yeah.
about how it goes. Whether you're riding along or maybe you just show up to a major
Well,
incident.
no. So myself and another guy just responded to a homicide in the city at
Okay.
St. Paul and Norton. Apparently, an individual was sitting in his car, and somebody came up and just shot him while he's sitting in the car. He apparently was supposed to be a witness the next day in court, so we know where that's going to go. But he
Yeah.
called
Yeah.
us and he said, I need clergy down here at the scene because the family's hanging around, and they're on the other side of the tape, but they're there, and we need to have some clergy there. So me and another guy went down there wearing our chaplain jackets, and when we get there, it's where do you need us the most? Where
Yes.
do you want us
Yeah.
to go? And the officer that was standing there says, I think the captain just wants you guys to stand here with the family. Well, eventually we stood there out in the cold for a couple of hours. But when they were notified, we ended up all circling, probably about 20 family members in the middle of the street, all circling, holding hands, and praying to the Lord for
Wow.
direction and comfort. And it was just wonderful. It's just awesome. I'm not interested in going to crime scenes anymore because I used to be a cop.
Yeah.
That I'm all done with and finished with. But I'm concerned about the officers that are there, what they
Yeah.
see, how much stress is on them, and I like to pray with the officers and with the
Yeah.
family if we have to. But it's just a wonderful thing to do. It's all volunteer, and we're available 24/7 for any cop that wants to call anybody. In fact, we strictly tell them that anything that they tell us is confidential
Yeah. Yeah.
under the clergy law in New York State,
Oh.
and they can call us at home and they could talk to us. They don't even have to give us their name. If they're having an issue in their life and they need to call, then they can call. As a
Wow.
matter of fact, after our fundraiser, we connected with an organization called the Muddy Oaks Foundation.
Yeah, I know the
Now,
Mighty Oaks. Yeah, that sergeant I was telling you about from LA County, he deals with Mighty Oaks for sure. Yeah.
okay, they're
Yeah.
nationwide now, and
Yeah.
we have a good relationship with them. We're going to start sending chaplains for free to their program so that they can come back and teach the rest of us how they do it. They do a 1 week program, and they've got a 95% baptism rate before that person comes home. It's just amazing. It's just
Wow.
amazing the work that they're doing. And
That
they've
is
been acknowledged
amazing.
by the they've been acknowledged by the presidential administrations that they are just doing a wonderful job for not only veterans where they started out, but now they've branched out to first responders and everything else. So if we have a problem with an officer's got a problem, we can call them and put them on the list.
Oh,
They will
cool.
fly. They will fly that officer to one of their camps for free, feed them,
Wow.
clothe them for a whole week, and run them through this program. By the time they get done, they will most likely be saved and then come back home and fly. They'll
Wow.
fly them back home. They even take couples. They
Wow.
do marriage counseling and everything else. So it's a great organization to be connected with,
Yeah,
and I'm
they're
so
big.
glad that
They're
we have
big.
a
Yeah.
relationship now. So
That's great.
yeah,
I love that we talked before a few months ago, and just how now the officers really they look to you as a resource because now you can kind of maybe keep family busy or you're dealing with witnesses or now the cops can kind of do their crime scene stuff, and
right.
you're actually a resource they utilize now when you show up.
Yes, it's like a de-escalation type of thing
Yeah,
because they're constantly looking over the officer's shoulders, even bystanders, and we keep
yeah,
that separate. We separate that, and it says something for people when they see that chaplain on your shirt that it does something with them, and they
yeah,
understand that, and it's almost like we're obviously ambassadors for Jesus Christ because that's what the
exactly.
Bible says,
Yeah,
and then we treat them as what would Jesus do type of thing,
yeah.
and that's it works out just awesome. And I just wish that when we were on the job they had something like that. When we were on the job there was nobody that you could talk to other than maybe
No.
another officer or somebody else, but
Yeah,
you
and
know
now you're a. Is it? Do you sometimes are you by yourself, or do the two chaplains go together? Or?
usually two
That's
at a
good.
crime scene, usually two or more,
Oh, I
but
like it.
we try to keep it at two, so the other guy's got a little bit of a support, and
Yeah,
that helps a lot.
man, that gives another set of eyes too for
Yeah,
the on duty coppers because you can see stuff that might be. I don't know. You might see
yeah,
something that's kind of unsafe or going awry, or
yeah.
somebody
And I, I
acting a little
witnessed
weird.
I witnessed the other night this officer's young guy, and he was so professional.
Wow.
He was at the line, and these people kept coming up saying, "I only live 2 doors down. I just got to go over there." And they kept asking him the same question, and he
Yeah.
and he just nicely and lovingly said, "I've answered your question before, so listen to me again and try not to interrupt me. This is what I'm going to tell you." And then he would tell him, and he was so professional with it. It was just amazing. I
That's
mean,
good to
I
hear
can remember.
because you hear a lot
I,
of criticism nowadays. All these young cops now they're different. They do
yeah,
this and
no,
that, but yeah,
it's totally different than when we were on the job. Just totally
yeah,
different.
yeah.
And I think about that all the time because my son's a registered
That's
policeman,
right.
and he's got 17 years on, so he's been through the.
17.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's been through that transition. Or when he first started, it was like when we were working, and now it's different. They're carrying
Yeah.
cameras and doing all that stuff. So
Yeah. So they have body cams on. Are they on all
yeah,
the time now? Or?
no, they've got the luxury of turning them on and off, but when they go to a call, they must be on. If it's
Gotcha.
a
Yeah.
like a domestic call or something like that, they have to be on, and then they can turn it off after a while. They were actually chastised, a couple of them, including my son, because they were talking to a woman that was having some domestic problem, and she didn't want to be on video. She
Yeah.
wanted to tell them some secret things, so they turned their cameras off so
Yeah.
that she could talk with them. Well, they chastised him for that. They didn't do anything to him, but they were chastised by the Civilian Review Board. Okay.
So so they actually, it's like an order now, probably you have to keep it on at a
Well,
call.
they have the luxury of turning it off if they have to.
Yeah.
If there's some type of a reason that they can justify turning it off, then they will. But for the most part, they're on for every call,
Yeah.
and they're not shy with releasing those videos immediately.
Man, I see that all over the country.
They do it. We went
Yeah.
to an officer-involved shooting where the guy shot the suspect, and he first they shot him, then they brought him back to life with CPR.
Yeah.
And then they put him in an ambulance and sent him to the hospital. And they showed the whole thing on the video. I mean, the video came out like 3 days after the incident. It was just unbelievable. But you can see where the guy went for his gun, and he shot once, and he hit one of the guys in the ear, and then the other guy behind him just took him out, which is what they're supposed to do.
I think for the most part, these videos are really showing what a hard job it is, and the officers usually in the right. Usually.
I gotta admit, I was a little bit negative to it when it first came out, but because there are certain tricks of the trade that you can't use anymore.
Yeah, there is sometimes language we would use to get people's attention that was kind of street talk that was effective, but it doesn't sound good if you're being recorded. Yeah.
The only good thing is the detectives don't have to carry them. That's the good thing.
That's the good thing, yeah.
Because they do a lot of investigating, but I see where the cameras would protect the officers. I mean, I can see that 9 times out of 10, And you know what? Not for nothing. If the officer's doing something wrong, then they should be chastised for it.
That's right. Yeah, it's a way for correction and transparency. But I've seen some of these videos. I don't like the fact that some of these departments, they're on 24/7. They're in the car. They're on the way to the call. I mean,
they don't have to do that here.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, you should be able to talk to yourself or say whatever you want personally, or make a maybe pray to God or whatever. Take care of me on this call. Or when you go out
to lunch or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they've had all these.
They don't have to do that here. When they go to a call, they click them on just before they get out of the car. So which is a good thing.
That's a good idea. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But there's a lot of those.
They're having. The biggest problem that these departments are having, both the sheriff's office and everybody that's got cameras now, is storing the data. That's expensive. They have to have mounds and mounds of storage for these videos.
Yeah.
And videos take up a lot of space.
A lot of space.
It costs a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I ventured in to hear somebody say that it was $600,000 a year just to collect the data and hold on to the data.
Just for is that just for the Rochester police or Monroe County?
Yeah.
Because I think so. Can you imagine these departments that require you to have it on the whole 8 hours of your shift?
Oh, that's crazy. I know it.
As you sit and have lunch, or you can't even have a conversation. I mean, that's because with freedom of information, everybody gets these videos and they go through them minute by minute.
Yeah, and thankfully they don't do that around here yet.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord. And
the only issue that they're having now around here is the sanctuary city and county and everything else. And, the county executive and the city mayor, they're all sticking to this, sanctuary thing and all that. So it makes it that much difficult for cops because they're stuck right in the middle,
Yeah, there was there's a Rochester police related podcast, and I was listening to them. I forgot the name of it, but they were I didn't even realize that the city was a sanctuary city, and they were very far left. I didn't even know that. Have they always been that way?
Yeah, I guess this policy has been enforced for the last 20 years. Now, I don't know where it came from, but they're probably increasing the efforts right now to enforce it. And they swore that they were never the mayor swore that he would never renege. Even Tom Holman came here and spoke with the Rochester Police Department Locust Club. And he said, I don't care what he says. We're going to stick to our guns and everything else. So, I mean, it's a political battle. It's a political issue that shouldn't put the police department in the middle of it. There's
No.
no way that should.
Holman came. Wasn't there an incident where they were told not to back some of the feds up? Was there something that happened?
The Border Patrol stopped the van, and they couldn't get the people in the van out of the van. They wouldn't get out of the van. There were only 2 officers, so they called for help.
Yeah.
So when they call for help, obviously in the city, 10 cars show up.
Yeah.
Right. And they talk them out of the van and put them in handcuffs and then turn them over to, and everybody got all upset about that, saying they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be helping them.
I don't get that mentality. I don't understand it.
The police chief came out with a statement later and said, we have this policy, but if a law officer is in trouble, then we will respond and assist. But to take people in custody and illegals in custody, we can't do that. And these 10 guys, they were put on suspension where they had to go to
what? Oh my God.
They had to go get trained on all this before they went back to work. Yeah. So,
yeah.
And
well, you know what? I can understand.
Because he's got to do what the mayor tells him to do.
Well, I can understand if the feds I can understand if the feds, hey, we're gonna get this guy. We have a warrant for him. We need you to pull him over. Pull him out and hand him over to us. So I can understand why you wouldn't want to be involved in that.
Right. And they didn't do it. They thought they were in trouble because they couldn't get these people out. So they called for help to persuade these people to get out of the van.
Yeah.
Well, when the RPD guys got there, they kind of took over. Okay. Which is the norm. They took over and they talked these people out of the van, and then they handcuffed them and turned them over to, and they got a little bit more engrossly involved. But that's what you would expect from one law enforcement agency to another.
This is what I would expect. And I think that's a good procedure, right? Hey, they're doing their own business, but now they have people refusing verbal orders. They're hunkered down in the vehicle. Hey, listen, I mean, and so instead of us smashing windows out and creating this big scene in your city, now we're calling you guys in, uniforms.
Just for support. That's all.
And maybe it'll go without an incident, which is what happened.
And they never made an arrest. They didn't do. All they did was use their handcuffs, and then the handcuffs were returned to them. So,
hey, I'm sure the police chief, he took so much shit from that. He backed down a lot, right?
Oh yeah. Well, he stuck to his guns, but he's got to kind of split between the mayor and
the coppers, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he's got to do. I would never want that job right now. That would never be a job for me.
No.
Unless I was elected by the people, then if something happened, I could go to the people and not have to fight with the superiors. So, but it is what it is, and he lives with it. So,
as a sheriff, it would be better.
He's been awesome to us.
He has been, yeah. Well, that's great. Well, and he became a chaplain, so he really bought into everything. He must be saved, and he's a follower of Christ. So,
he's a really good guy to us. He really is.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him sometimes.
He's probably caught in the middle. Yeah.
I hear about these things, and I'll send him a little bit of a text and tell him, "Hey, we're praying for you." That's what we do. That's all we can do.
Yeah, because he was in a kind of a no-win situation with that. Yeah.
He isn't. Yeah, he's very supportive of us.
I remember Holman arrived, and you said that he offered it. Hey, if you guys need a job, I'll hire you. Did anybody ever go become?
No, I don't think they did. But I know some people that applied for it. In fact,
I almost applied myself, but then I didn't want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. One of our chaplains who moved, he left and he moved to Pennsylvania. He's a retired lieutenant colonel from the military.
Yeah.
And he wanted to join. He used me as a reference, and he wanted to join. He didn't get that job, but he took a job with the sheriff's department in his local county area. And he's going to try to start a chaplaincy there too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy. He's a great guy.
Now you guys won't train anybody. You just train locally for around Rochester.
Yeah, but we're starting to branch out a little bit. If anybody's interested in going to the class, we're opening it up to them. As long as they can pay their way, we're opening it up to them. In fact, we got one guy in our church right now. He wants to go through the class and learn, but he doesn't want to be a chaplain. He says, I don't
Oh,
need an ID. I don't need a title. He says, I don't want to get involved. I just want to go through the class to learn. So
oh,
we cut the amount in half for him and say, yeah, if you want to come, you're fine. You can do that.
wow. How many hours,
So
if you want to be a police chaplain, how many hours is it?
it's 3 hours, one night a week
Oh,
for
man. Okay.
12 weeks.
That's great.
So we meet on a Tuesday night at about 6:30. We get done about 9:30, and we do that once a week on a Tuesday for 12 weeks. And we have different instructors that come in and do their thing.
Is that like a state certification or something? Or
Well, it's under the state law. It's certified
okay.
under the state
Yeah.
law. And where you really get your additional increase in education is we made a deal with Light University online.
Ah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They're affiliated with Liberty University, and
Yes.
they teach 3 classes of how to be a mental health coach,
Right.
and
Yeah.
by the book, by the Bible. It's all biblical,
Yeah.
and those classes cost $2,000.
Oh,
But
wow. Okay.
we negotiated with them down to actually the prior executive director. She negotiated with them down to $54 just to cover the IT cost. So
Wow.
everybody goes for $54, and they all have to make that and finish it and get certificates in mental health coaching. So
Oh,
it's
man.
really eye opening. I really enjoyed taking the classes.
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
great.
know I didn't know I was so laxed in education when it came to mental illness and all that, because us as cops, we run into everybody that's got they're either alcoholics or drug addicts, and you can't weed through that stuff to determine whether or not they're mentally ill. I
Yeah.
mean, the new thing nowadays is if somebody's mentally ill and they're on drugs, that means they're mentally ill. Well, it's not. That means they're a drug addict, but they may have some mentally ill tendencies. So you have to
Yeah.
weed through all that stuff. And these courses really help a lot.
Well, now I'm learning, you got 30 to 40 million people that are on antidepressants. They got general practitioners handing stuff
Uh,
out like candy.
yeah. And that's, you and I know that's not totally 100%. I mean, living a life for Jesus Christ is 100%.
That's
That,
100%. That's right.
yeah, that's 100%. And that's something that can get you out of what you're doing in the first place. All
Yeah.
you got to
And
do is read the Bible
that's
and
all
be
you need.
dedicated to the Lord. That's all you need. That's all you
Hey,
need.
speaking of policing in the Bible, and is there any big influx of Muslims are in Rochester at all? Or?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I assume that they will be coming from New York City soon.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, only
maybe.
because of the change in mayor. But we have a mosque here
Yeah.
that's pretty full. But really, they keep to themselves, and that's okay. In fact, when I ran for sheriff back in 2001, I went over there to do a little campaigning, and I learned a couple of things too when I was there. I
Yeah.
talked to the imam, and he said it was okay for me to be there. And then I greeted people as they came out of their prayer room. I shook the men's hands, and I went to go shake the woman's hands, and somebody come up to me and said, "Don't touch the woman. That would be cause to kill you." And I said,
Yeah.
"Okay, no problem." So I couldn't shake the woman's hand. So
Well, it just seems that that's the new playbook is we use demographics and culture and so we have the numbers. We move into a community with enough numbers. Now we can elect our own officials,
yeah,
and so
yeah.
then you'll never have a non-Muslim official in that city or village again because
No,
they have the numbers.
I'm surprised that the New York City police commissioners stayed with her job. He kept her. He kept the police commissioner that was on. So, I mean, that shows for a little bit of effort, but who knows what's going to happen. But that's a good thing to have in an academy class for police officers too, is the training for different religions,
Yeah.
and how to approach that. We have a class in the academy for that. Any chaplain that comes across somebody that's not a Christian, and
Yeah.
we meet them where they are. They're not chastised, they're not judged. We just meet them where they are. And if we have to pray for them silently, then that's what we do. We pray.
Yeah. Let's see what's going to happen in New York City. I mean, you can't free this and free buses and that. Let's see.
Yeah.
That's not, my mayor Rudy Giuliani said he doesn't know what he's getting into, because Rudy said the city's ripe with corruption anyways from all different sources. Yeah. So either he's going to Rudy said either he's going to have to go along with a lot of it, or they're just going to steal him blind from behind his back.
They'll roll right over the top of him.
Yeah.
I mean, kid's 31 years old and he's young. He's got, the only experience he's got is living in two different worlds. And I think he grew up here with rich parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's kind of a kid with a silver spoon in his mouth. So,
we're going to see what happens, because, man, there's a lot of, they had a guy on a podcast I was watching. He was basically, this guy knows the Quran back and forth, but he's basically saying that, they're allowed to, if it's for the betterment and moving the movement forward, you can lie and say whatever you want.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why there's not too many Christians involved in politics, because they don't lie. They tell the honest truth. And a lot of times people that tell the honest truth don't get elected.
Yeah, but we probably need to have more Christians elected. We need them to get involved.
Yes, we do.
Because
we do to kind of balance it out a little bit. But
because
we got the power of prayer too on our side. So
yeah. God is still on the throne, and He's going to make sure.
Yes, He is. Everything
that is going to happen. It's already He already knows ahead of time. So we're in good hands.
Yep, we certainly are.
Yeah. And how's your son doing on the force? Is he still working regular patrol?
Yeah, he's been out for a few months now with he cracked his knee. He fell down while he was running after some kid that was trying to steal a car. So I told him, I says, you got 17 years on the job. I says, you got to think twice before you get out of that car and start chasing kids.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, man, because I'll tell you, you screw up your knees, man, it could be a long haul.
Well, it's been long for him. This happened back in about, I think, July, and he's been out of work since. He'll be out of work until the first of the year.
Wow.
And it's been healing slowly. He had to go to therapy, but the fact of the matter is the older you get, the longer it takes for you to heal. So
now, back when you worked in Monroe County and the sheriff, there was always a big mafia faction, the A team and the B team, and there was a lot of bombings and shootings. Is there any mafia wars going on now, or
not in the city of Rochester?
Okay.
If they are active, they're active in the quiet, in the background. Maybe with the garbage collection, or those were a lot of the things in the unions. They get to infiltrate the unions and stuff like that. But there isn't much of that around here anymore. New York City, there is. I mean, the FBI just took down a couple of people out of 5 families for the gambling and all that. And that's what they're getting into, because gambling has been legalized. You can get on your phone and you can gamble on anything, which I can't understand. But
I can't understand how we went from, you're arresting bookies and people get in trouble for placing a bet, and you can't have a football pool. And now it's okay to be on your phone and bet as much as you want, as often as you want. Now you can bet in the mid-game.
Yeah, and they push it on TV. Yeah, they push it on TV. It's just amazing.
Oh, there's that guy, that ex-mafia guy, Franzese or whatever. He's got a big podcast, but he was talking about you're always going to have the mafia involved in gambling. They're always going to be, bringing in, these professional athletes and these referees because, they do it for excitement and they
Sure,
like
they
to be
make money
involved
on
in it.
it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they make money. And you know what? You're right. He's right. It's never going to go away. It's only going to get worse. And I can't imagine. They've taken a couple of basketball players down. They've
Yeah.
taken a couple of baseball players down. And I'm waiting for when they nab a couple of people out of the NFL. Because
Oh, yeah.
they got to be dealing with that over there.
Well, they're already took down some of these coaches. These people are going to talk. They're going to be facing federal crimes.
Yeah.
They're going to be singing the,
Yeah, they're facing 10, 20 years in jail.
Hey, we got to talk about that. You were a detective at the time. We're talking, it was Mad Dog Sullivan, right? Is that the proper name?
Yeah. He was the one that did in Fiorino, I think his name
At
was.
the Blue Gardenia on Empire Boulevard in Arundecoit, New York.
Yep.
Back in the 80s, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And he had, I think, as a matter of fact, my parents were on Empire Boulevard when he pulled out with one headlight out or something. And the Arundecoit officer wasn't D. Giovanni. It was something like that.
Yeah, it was Di Giovanni.
Yeah. And then Mad Dog Sullivan is in the passenger seat. He jumps out with that shotgun and
starts shooting at the cop.
Blows out the front window. Di Giovanni leans over. The guy's wearing a vest. It's a foot patrol. The car went into the snowbank. And then eventually he was caught in a hotel nearby, right?
Well, and after a few months, he left.
Oh, he was out a few months. He was escaped. Okay.
Yeah, he escaped to New York City, where he was from.
Yeah.
But then he came back again because Torpy and Taylor that hired him didn't pay him. So he wanted his money, and he came back for the money. And that's why he was staying at that hotel on Empire Boulevard. But he was one of the toughest ones. I mean, this guy here had a record like he killed some female and her baby on one of the bridges in New York City. He just shot the baby and the mother. And this guy was rough. He was bad.
Yeah, Mad Dog. But I thought he was kind of cool because he was a good dresser, and they said he said he did 1,000 push-ups a day. I talked to a guy in the jail. He goes, "No, he does, man. He does."
Yeah, he does. And he was. There was fear for him from everybody. I mean, even the people that knew him and were friends with him were afraid of him because they never knew when he was going to turn.
Yeah, and you have that insight because after he's captured, right, you were guarding him before the trial, right?
Yeah, they had the SWAT team on him, and I was on the SWAT team at the time. So, yeah, that was one of the highlights of the experience in my life, of my career. Yeah.
Now, listen, you're going to remember this. I remember every damn thing you told me. I remember you said that he told you. And then, hey, one time this guy walked by me like he wasn't even afraid of me. I hit him in the back of the head with a hammer. You remember that?
Yeah, it's like me. He's just bizarre.
But his dad, his dad was an NYPD detective.
And he was the only one that ever escaped from
Attica
prison. Yeah.
The only one who ever escaped from Attica prison. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I was reading about him, and there was a podcast that went into detail about his life. Some people from New York that knew him. I guess he wasn't a made guy, though, right?
No, he wasn't. Couldn't be. He was an Italian. He wasn't Italian.
Oh, okay. He wasn't Italian.
He wasn't Italian. So he was just a hitman that they hired. Yeah. That's all he was.
I know he had wiped out a family at one time. Yeah, he just killed it.
He wasn't afraid. He just do it. Like a business to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
Amazing. It's amazing.
That was quite a case, man. The Blue Gardenia on Empire Boulevard, man.
Yeah.
And he wiped out the owner, right? Isn't that who he took out? Or?
Well, he took out the union president.
Oh, the union president. Oh, okay. That's right. And the guy that had the restaurant, he used to host all these guys right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And he shot him in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And you know who was driving the getaway car?
No.
A guy by the name of DiGiulio.
DiGiulio?
He was driving the car, and he got one glass eye and can't see out of the other one too. He's the one that ended up in the snowbank because it was snowing so bad. He was trying to get on the expressway, and he ran right into the snowbank. And then that's when the Irondequoit cop pulled up behind him. Well, he turned. He
Yeah.
turned, and he became a witness. And I was guarding him. They
Yeah.
put me on nights. They gave him an apartment up in Webster, and they brought his father. His brother was in jail for burglary. They took him out and put him there, and his girlfriend, so that the mob wouldn't go after any of them. And we had to do shifts there with him. And one of the nights I was there, we were watching TV together. The other people went to bed, and we were watching The Fugitive on TV. And all of a sudden, we hear this bang, bang in the backwoods, right? And he jumped up and he said, "Go out and get them. They're here. They're here. They're after me. Go out and get them." I said, "I'm not going out to get anybody." I said, "Sit down. It's just somebody messing in the woods. It's nobody that wants to get you."
Wow.
And
Hey,
it was just so funny.
you showed a little fear there, though, Tom. You had a little fear, man.
He was afraid that somebody was coming in to get him. He says, "You
Yeah.
got to go out there. You got to check." I said, "No, I don't." I said,
No.
"Sit down. We'll play more cards." And we were playing gin, too. So.
But were you worried at all that they might try to pull a hit on him?
No. They had no idea where he was. And there was just, there's a woods back there where people go hunting.
Yeah.
But it was late at night, and they were probably out there just messing around. And if I thought it was something, I would have called somebody to come down and check it anyway.
Jeez.
But, I mean, the Webster cops knew we were there. Anyway,
I wouldn't have trusted anybody to snitch. I don't know. There must, there's always some infiltration of,
It was, I'll tell you what, spending time with him and his family was crazy. It was crazy stupid.
The way they thought about things?
Yeah, his brother, he was a burglar. And he was just like whining about everything, about the food that they left, about everything.
My God.
Whining about everything, I mean, I just kind of felt like telling him, you know what? You can go back and eat the jail food as far as I'm concerned. I don't care.
Yeah, that's right. I don't give a shit if you witness. Yeah. Who are they testifying against? Torpy and somebody, or?
Torpy and Taylor.
Torpy and Taylor. Okay.
And the Sullivan.
Oh, and Sullivan.
Because he was there for the whole thing.
Yeah,
he was the driver of the car. So.
Yeah. Oh,
and
man.
then they gave him 5 years. Okay, he testified. They gave him 5 years. He got out, and he got picked up for robbery. And he went right back in again.
Who got 5 years? Sullivan?
No, the driver to the car.
Oh, the driver. Okay, one-eye guy.
DiGilio. Yeah.
DiGilio. I remember that name. He was always in the paper.
Yeah, and he turned. He testified and everything, and he helped. But then he turned around and they gave him 5 years. He did the 5 years. He came out, and then he went and did a series of robberies, and they put him back in again.
He couldn't stay clean, man. He had no other. Oh, man.
No, it was funny because the night that they had the warrant signed, after he signed a statement,
yeah,
I was on patrol, and I was taking plate numbers and stuff at all the joints, and the sergeant in the city that was in charge of the unit called me, and he says, "Tom, can you come and pick me up?" So I went to pick him up. It was like 1:00 in the morning, and I says, "What's going on?" He says, "We got a warrant for Torpy, and we're going to go pick him up now." Really? I said, "That's great." So I got a chance to stand right next to him when the sergeant said, "You're under arrest for murder."
Wow.
And he looked at him. So when we first walked into his apartment, his girlfriend said, "I don't know what shape he's in because he's been snorting coke for about 12 hours now."
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So
oh, my God.
We walked in the bedroom, and he was standing at the end of the bed, and the sergeant came in, and I was standing next to the sergeant. The sergeant showed him the papers and said, "I have a warrant for your arrest for murder." And he looked at him, and he turned all white, and he fell back on the bed.
Oh, my God.
He almost fainted. So we put handcuffs on him and walked him out. That's the last time anybody saw him. But he did get out of jail. He got out of jail.
He did?
He did 25 years.
Oh, my God.
He got out of jail. And then guess how he died?
A car accident.
He fell down a set of stairs.
You're kidding me.
Killed him, yeah.
So he died.
Yeah.
So Taylor is probably dead too, right? They're all dead.
I would assume he probably is, yeah. I didn't see anything that had to do with him. But the only thing I saw was when they picked him up at his apartment. His daughter was just getting off the bus, and he asked the cop. He says, "Can I see my daughter before we go?" And the cop looked at him and said, "No," and they drove off with him.
Yeah.
So you treat a murderer like he treats everybody else.
Yeah.
So,
these guys, Mafia in Rochester, these were no connections with the five families of New York, right?
No, they had one guy with, I forget his name, but the guy that was in charge of the family here had connections with people in Buffalo that had connections with people in New York City.
Okay, yeah.
So it was all connected. It was all cooperated.
Yeah. They probably had to operate.
Frank Valenti was the one that was in charge of the families here.
That's right.
And then when he died, a guy by the name of Red Rosati took over.
Red Rosati, I remember that. I love these names, Red Rosati. Hey, who was that Rochester PD guy? He was very a flamboyant detective. Tony somebody, right? He'd be on the news all the time, and I can't think of his name.
Tony Cotsworth?
No, he was a very colorful guy. I don't know. I think he was involved in some case. Maybe it was, but where they took the jury out to the scene and God, I can't remember. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'll figure it out for our next episode. Yeah.
But the undersheriff to Red Rosati was a guy by the name of Rini Picaretto.
Yeah, Picaretto.
And then Picaretto took over after Red Rosati died. So at the time of this war, Rini Picaretto was the number one guy for the traditional mobsters.
Right.
And Jorpy and Taylor were just bodyguards for another guy, Sam. He was blown up in a car.
Oh yeah. Not Gingello, not a Gingello.
Yeah, Sammy Gingello.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were his bodyguards. They were in the car when it blew up, but because the door was open in the back, they were saved.
Yeah. And so
the bomb was underneath where Sammy was sitting. Yeah.
Has that started the war?
Well, the drugs involvement started the war, was what it was.
Yeah.
So then Torpy and Taylor went by the 44 Club on Lake Avenue one night, and Rini Picaretto came out to talk with them.
Yeah.
And one of them, and I think it was Torpy, leaned out of the car and whacked him right in the puss.
No shit. Right in the puss. Oh, my.
And that's what started the big war.
Oh, my God.
They were going back and forth, murdering each other's friends and everything else. And I was sitting in front of one of the new gambling joints one night. And I was on that detail. And I was sitting there in plain clothes. I had a plain clothes car. And a car pulls up around the corner. It was at Parkway and Lorimer Street. And there were four guys in the car. And all of a sudden, these two big guys walked around the corner, and they're standing there. And this Rini Picaretto is following them, right?
Yeah.
So he looks and he sees me, and he says, "You're a Vasile, aren't you?"
Oh,
I says, "Yeah, I am." I says, "How are you doing?" I says, "Good." He says, "I just want to tell you that make sure that you have a weapon because it's bad out here on the street. And these guys are bad,
Wow.
So he says, "How's your aunt?" And I says, "What aunt?"
What?
And he says, "Your Aunt Minnie. My aunt used to date him in high school."
Oh, my God.
He knew my dad and my brother and everybody else, right? So he says, I says, "Well, my aunt's passed away by now." He says, "Oh," he says, "Well, how's your dad?" I says, "My dad's fine." My father went over to his office one day to adjust the furnace. And he brought my dad upstairs in his office. And he says, "What are you doing? Look at you. You're on your knees. You're in work clothes. Why don't you come work for me? I'll buy you a couple of new suits." And he says, you can work for me." My father said, "No, I don't think so. I got a family and kids I got to take care of."
Yeah.
And he offered him a job, and he didn't take it.
Yeah, thank God.
he says, your brother's on the job too, isn't he? I says, yeah, he is. He's on the job. So he says, well, be careful. He says, and protect yourself. I says, okay,
Wow.
fine. So he left. When
Yeah.
about 20 minutes later, this guy Colombo comes out, right? And
Yeah.
Colombo had done some homicides that he didn't get arrested for. He comes out and he sits down next to me and he starts talking with me because he thinks I'm friends with Rini. He's wide open. And he starts talking to me and he says, yeah, I don't know why we have to go and do all this stuff just for a couple of prostitutes and some gambling joints. And he's confessing all this stuff out of his mouth, right?
Oh my God.
I said, well, nice talking to you. I got to move to a different place. He says, okay, see you. And he shook my hand. I ran to the car and I tape recorded everything that he told me. I put it on a piece of paper. I put it on an intelligence report. Lo and behold, that intelligence report led to the arrest of 4 of these guys.
No kidding. Just that one contact. Man.
And I went to court and I testified in federal court against all 4 of them. And each one of them had an attorney, and I had to withstand cross-examination from each one of them, right?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that they wanted to do for me on cross-examination was I spelt one of the words wrong in my report.
Jeez.
And they blistered me about that. It was just out of control. And the U.S. attorney, he just sat there.
Yeah, not helping. Yeah.
So
but they did they try to fight that casual conversation to try to say that there was Miranda or something?
Oh, yeah. It was like, you forced him to talk about this and everything else.
But he initiated everything, right?
Yeah, I was sitting on the corner doing nothing, minding my own business.
I used to love I used to love that you guys would how you operated, how you go out to all the joints and take all the plate numbers now, and you could kind of keep track of people's movements, and that's how you gained intelligence.
Yeah.
I don't know. I ran into you somewhere on there was a murder or a shooting, right? Mr. Gold. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I was in the town of Yates. Yeah, that was I forget the guy's name, but yeah, he was behind the counter. And somebody came in, asked him to see a couple of diamonds. He took the diamonds out, and the .45 caliber killer was the one that shot him.
Oh, the 45. Oh, okay.
He was working for Rini Picaretto's group, and he went in, and the other guy was working for Torpy and Taylor. And he went in, he just lifted his gun right in front of him, just broad daylight, shot him in the head, and walked right out of the place, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, for a relatively small city, that. A lot of crime in Rochester, right?
It is. There is a lot of crime. There's a lot of homicides. I mean, there's at least 2 or 3 of them a week. I mean, and that's a lot for the population that we have. And some of them are brutal. I mean, some of them are really brutal.
There's been a lot of serial killers in that area too, man.
Yeah.
Well, on the next time when you come back, we're approaching an hour. We got to talk about the double initial murders, man. Nothing new on that yet?
Nothing at all, and I don't think there ever will be.
We had all these young girls were killed. Michelle Mayenza, I never forget. Carmen Colon and
Michelle Mayenza, and
those initials were also the towns where they were discovered, right? Macedon.
Bodies, Macedon. Michelle Mayenza was found in Macedon, actually right around the corner from where my house used to be.
Jeez.
Carmen Colon was found in Chile.
Yep.
And
I forgot the other one.
Yeah, the name.
There was a third one.
My mother was a bus monitor at the time, and she had Carmen Colon on her bus. And she said that she was the sweetest little kid you ever want to meet. And it was a sad tragedy. Wanda Walkowitz in Webster.
Wanda Walkowitz. Yeah, we got to, next time you come on, we're going to talk about this case. Wasn't there a fireman and they had suspected? I thought that was a pretty strong suspect.
Firefighter, yeah. He was out of the Goodman section firehouse where a couple of these girls were picked up close by. And he ended up committing suicide. In fact, they even exhumed his body because they got DNA.
That's right.
And they exhumed his body. My partner worked on that,
Yeah.
and they took DNA from him, but it didn't match. It didn't match. So it's just still a mystery, and it always will be.
Yeah.
It was
No,
just
man.
terrible.
God, he got.
We got called a couple of times to go and interview a couple of people. One of them was the uncle of Carmen Colon. We went to interview him, and we took him to the station. We interviewed him and all that, but none of it came close. Nobody knew.
Well, supposedly he's exonerated, but this is who I think did it. I think it was Ken Bianchi of the Hillside Stranglers, because he was in town. He was going to Monroe Community College.
Hey, that's a possibility. That's a big possibility.
Because some of these girls were found along the expressway.
Yeah.
I think Ken Bianchi's your guy. It's too much of a coincidence.
I don't know if they ever checked that.
No, I think they did. I think he was a suspect, but for some reason they think it wasn't him. But just because they think the MO was so much different than the Hillsides. But I think he probably changed when he got out to Hollywood.
He changed to older women when he got out there.
But some of these young girls were along the banks of the expressway, which is kind of what they did in L.A., the hillside. Yeah, they were throwing these prostitutes across the hillside. Damn it. I don't know, but I don't think his uncle or whoever his partner was. I don't think he was in Rochester, but he went to MCC, right, for police.
Yes, he did, for police science. And then he moved out to California after that and hooked up with his I don't know, it was his uncle or something.
Yeah.
And then that's when he started picking up women out there, and he was strangling them and doing all that.
Well, there was never any more young girls killed, right? That stopped.
There wasn't. I mean, they were stuck and dead set on this firefighter, one of these firefighters.
Yeah. Damn it.
And he killed himself. So, I mean, that was even worse after we found out that he committed suicide. So, hey, who knows?
But was he exonerated through DNA or something? Or
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a dead end.
Patrick went just as far as having
his
body exhumed.
Yeah, I want to put that link in there too. Patrick has a book. It's Major Crimes or something it's called.
Yeah. He actually wrote two of them. He wrote one for children, The Serpents Among Us, and he wrote another one about major crimes, about some of the cases that we worked.
All right, we're going to talk about that on our next episode, Tom, because there were some fascinating things that happened. Because I know you were with him in a lot of those surveillance deals with these sex offenders.
The Larrabee case was really, really, really intriguing.
Which is the Larrabee the one with the girl from Greece, or?
Yeah, the school teacher, the music
school teacher.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he confessed to that probably 2 weeks before he died of cancer in jail.
Wow.
Yeah, we were right on that, and we knew he got rid of the body, and we talked to his brother-in-law about it, and his brother-in-law started crying when we talked to him. And he said, if I say anything to you, he'll kill me.
Wow.
So we knew, but we didn't know where he dumped the body. He used to go fishing in Genesee County, and little pond in Genesee County. That's where he dumped the body, and his brother-in-law helped him do it.
Oh, so did they ever find bodies there?
They found her body, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right there where we thought it was. Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then he died of cancer anyway, so. Yeah.
Oh, man. But those were fun cases to work, right?
Yeah, they were. A
lot of investigation.
Everlasting cases that you like to talk about, because
like to dig in.
Investigations, there's interviews, all kinds of different things.
I know we'll go into it another time, but I know that Patrick he ended up confronting the suspect, right, in an alley or something, almost got killed.
Which one?
He somehow, I think someone he was surveilling, he ended up into a tussle with or something.
That's a possibility. Yeah, that's probably in the book.
It's in the book. I read the book, Pretty amazing stuff, man. Oh, that's good stuff, man. You know, you ever missed the job being on the streets?
No. At my age, no. It's a young man's job. But
I forget.
I miss some of the people that I used to work with. Some of the people were really supportive and great. And of course, now my best friend, Patrick, my partner. I mean, he's my brother-in-law now. So I'll be seeing him for Thanksgiving, which will be an exciting time.
Oh, you're going to see Patrick. Oh my God. Okay.
And I think he's getting ready to pull the plug down there in Florida, and and then move back up here. So,
well, tell him Brad Lewis said hi, because
I will.
I told you I got confronted at the church in Florida, and he said, "Hey, you're new here to the church." I told him my background. He goes, "Oh, yeah, we got to get you on the safety team." My partner's from Rochester that we did on FDLE, Federal Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE in Florida. And then he said, Patrick, Patrick, and then, what? Yeah, and then somehow I got connected to you. What a small world, my God.
I know.
Jeez.
I just had a guy come up to me in church. He's an attorney, and he's a young guy, and he's newly saved. And he's our attorney on our chaplain board. So he kind of directs us in the right manner.
Oh, that's good.
He texted me the other day. He says, "Do you know Pat Crow?" And I said, "Yes, my best friend, my partner, and now my brother-in-law." And he says, "I just got done talking to him about a matter." He says,
"Oh, my God."
And this attorney used to do, he started out as an attorney working in pretrial release. Remember pretrial release?
Yeah, of course.
They arrest somebody and then the next day they're out.
Yeah.
And I says, how could you do such a thing?
Yeah. Maybe he should be saved twice, because he's got a lot of sins to be. We got to have lunch with that guy.
He's a great guy, Chad. Chad's a good guy.
All right, Tom, episode 1 in the books. How do you think it went? Pretty good, right?
Awesome, Cliff.
I think it's going to be good, by cops, for cops, and it's going to be good. Police stories, maybe some current events, and I got a bunch of coppers I want to talk to. But
that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's gonna do wonders on YouTube. It really is, because people like cops. People like to listen to what cops got to say. So that's a good thing. Yeah,
that is a good thing, man, my brother. All right, listen, hang around for a little debrief. We're going to end this episode of the Lionhearted Blue Police Podcast. It's episode 1. I had to look at the title. I didn't even remember. It's episode 1. I don't know. If you haven't.
Episode 1. Awesome.
Yeah, listen, if you're listening on one of the audio podcasts, go over to YouTube and look at our ugly faces. We have faces meant for radio. Yeah.
I will.
All right, hang around. Tom Vasile, retired Monroe County Sheriff, current chaplain, police chaplain. Episode 1.